Welcome back, everybody. It's my birthday special for Severus Rickman, in which we're going to play our next super game, and that is Jeopardy. Let's see how it goes.
This is Jeopardy!
Let's play Jeopardy. Here we go.
Here are the categories.
For the Jeopardy round, the categories are U.S. states, famous quotes, Roman Empire, TV numbers, nutrition, and finally, literature. Alright. Famous quotes for 100.
The answer is...
According to Reader's Digest, it's the best medicine. What is laughter?
The answer is...
Alexander Pope said, it springs eternal in the human breast. What is hope?
The answer is...
Stuffy British monarch who said, when she saw herself imitated, we are not amused. Who is Queen Victoria?
The answer is...
In Trees, he claimed that poems are made by fools like me. Who is Joyce Kilmer? Last one.
The answer is...
Category, that is. This is the fourth. Ask this Virginia patriot just before dying on July 24th, 1826. Who is Thomas Jefferson? Okay, now I'll take literature for 100.
The answer is...
In his will, he left all his possessions to his friend and benefactor, Edward Hyde. Who's Dr. Jekyll?
The answer is...
The dashing Margaret Mitchell character has been called the most famous Charlestonian. Who is Rhett Butler?
The answer is...
Poe wrote the 1002nd tale of this Arabian Nights character. Who is Scheherazade?
The answer is...
Though Jay Gatsby loved her, she was chained to Tom Buchanan. Who was Daisy Buchanan?
The answer is...
Her last words to Alice were, off with her head. Who is the Queen of Hearts?
The answer is...
3 ounces of this pickled cabbage is only 18 calories. What is sauerkraut?
The answer is...
This mineral, which forms teeth and bones, is by weight the most common mineral in the body. What is calcium?
The answer is...
Primary food type along with carbohydrates and proteins, they help the body prevent viral infections. What are fats?
The answer is.
There are two types of vitamins, fat-soluble and this kind. Ah! Jim beat me to the buzzer. Water-soluble, I knew it, but I couldn't get through on the buzzer.
The answer is.
Cookie Burns' his working address. What is 77 Sunset Strip?
The answer is.
Starches are complex forms of these simple carbohydrates. What are sugars?
The answer is.
In a 60s sitcom, officers Tootie and Muldoon patrol the Vietnam with this vehicle. What is Car 54?
The answer is.
Number of lives led by Richard Carlson while portraying Herbert Philbrick. What is 3?
The answer is.
Each day, Art Linkletter interviewed this many children on his house party show. What is 4?
The answer is.
The number of Sergeant Friday's badge, which a Dragnet fan could tell you. What is 714?
The answer is.
By the time he was appointed dictator in 49 BC, the Roman bread god risen to 200,000 people. Who is Julius Caesar?
The answer is.
Since Agrippina was a niece of Emperor Claudius, consent to this body was needed for them to wed. What is the Senate?
The answer is.
At one point in the Second Punic War, his forces almost annihilated the Roman army. Who is Hannibal?
The answer is.
Under the Romans, this kingdom in the Holy Land included Jerusalem and Bethlehem. Judah.
The answer is.
The largest provincial capital of the Roman Empire, it was once ruled by Mark Antony. Alexandria.
The answer is.
13th to enter the Union. It must have been Providence, or we'd have had a flag with 12 stripes. What is Rhode Island?
The answer is.
While New York is the Empire State of the North, this is the Empire State of the South. Ah. We got locked out on the buzzer. Georgia, yeah, I knew it, but too late.
The answer is.
The geographic center of this state is Delaware, 25 miles north of Columbus. What is Ohio? Both Sun Valley and the craters of the moon are tourist attractions in this state. What is Idaho?
The answer is.
Francis Scott Key didn't have to leave this, his home state, to spend the night near Fort McHenry. What is Maryland? On to Double Jeopardy.
Here are the categories.
They are toys and games, transportation, folk songs, what's in a name, the 30s, and finally, art.
The answer is
In October 1939, DuPont brought out stockings made of this artificial fiber. What is nylon?
the answer is
The Mrs. Putnam who disappeared over the Pacific in 1937. Who is Amelia Earhart?
the answer is
British actress who won an Oscar for her role in 1939's Best Picture. Who is Vivian Leigh?
the answer is
Band leader of Baker's Broadcast. He married co-star Harriet Hilliard. Who's Ozzie Nelson?
the answer is
On March 3rd, 1931, this president made the Star-Spangled Banner the national anthem. Who's Herbert Hoover?
the answer is
He painted old women of Arles as well as young women of Tahiti. Who is Paul Gauguin?
the answer is
Tesserae are the small cubes or shaped pieces held in place by plaster, cement, or putty in one of these. What is a mosaic?
the answer is
He painted bird illustrations in addition to writing poems about birds, like the owl and the pussycat. Edward Lear.
the answer is
Though his name means famous, this Dangerfield gets no respect. Who is Rodney Dangerfield?
the answer is
Variations of this most common feminine name in Christian lands include May, Holly, and Marie. What is Mary?
the answer is
Princess in Hebrew, or the Lee nobody doesn't like. Ah. Sarah Lee, I knew that.
the answer is
Though he started designing helicopters in 1909, his first didn't fly until 1939. Who is Igor Sikorsky?
the answer is
The IRT, IND, and BMT are the three divisions of this city's subway team. What is New York City? The first national exhibition of these was held in 1900 in Madison Square Garden. What are automobiles?
The answer is.
Famous for motorcycles, this Japanese company is the world's biggest maker of musical instruments. What is Yamaha?
The answer is.
Sweden, Denmark, and Norway share it as their national airline. What is SAS?
The answer is.
Term collectors use for the total number of prints made from one plate during one printing. What is an edition?
The answer is.
The art form surrealism began as a literary movement inspired by this French movement. Dadaism, I knew it.
The answer is.
His forte is singing, not being a bean farmer as his first name implies. Who is Fabian?
The answer is.
State whose name comes from the coupling of its founder's name with the Latin word for tree. Got beat to the buzzer again. Pennsylvania, I knew it.
The answer is.
Bill Monroe told the blue moon of this state to keep on a-shining. Got locked out again. Kentucky, yep.
The answer is.
They were lovers, oh lordy, how could they love? But the song's about a fight. Who are Frankie and Johnny?
The answer is.
In many versions, the second verse of this protest song starts, "We'll walk hand in hand." What is "We Shall Overcome"?
The answer is.
Whoopie-tie-yay-yo, get along, little doggies. You know that this state will be your new home. What is Wyoming?
The answer is.
In Clementine, this numerical phrase describes the minor. What is 49er?
The answer is.
Number of pockets on a pool table. Got locked out again. 6, I knew it.
The answer is.
Color that always has the opening move in chess. Oh, come on! Yep.
The answer is.
Versions of this board game take place in London, Madrid, and Atlantic City. Keep getting locked out. Monopoly. Keep trying to buzz in, but it won't let me. Or the computer players are too quick. Now it's going to cost me. Smith makes this brand of crayons with 64 colors, and it's Crayolas. Yep.
The answer is
She's been a teenage fashion model for over 25 years. Who is Barbie? I finally got in on the buzzer. Alright, time for Final Jeopardy! Category is Canada. See you all for the next game, everybody.
the Final Jeopardy answer is